All right. We're doing it, people. It's the Sit Down Zumach podcast coming live and direct from Tampa, Florida. Full effect. It's Z-Man, Chad Zumach. How are you today? How you feeling? We got a very special show, a very special guest, a friend of mine who I haven't talked to in a while. One of the cool things about doing these Zooms is you get to catch up with some people. You follow them from afar. You see what they're up to on the social media, but he's here today, coming straight out of New York. My man, Kevin Dombrowski. How are you, Kevin?
That was the one of the best radio intros for a podcast I've heard in quite some time. That was really smooth.
All right.
Smooth takeoff.
At the top of the hour, we're going to be giving away tickets to Kevin's live Zoom show. Let me first and foremost, let me say congratulations on being a father. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I saw that photo of you holding your baby. I'm like, look at this guy. And your lovely wife, who I think's cool as fuck. So I'm happy for you, dude.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's been pretty fucking crazy.
How you holding up with that, being a dad in New York and a comic? And
now it's a loaded question. As a dad, I feel like I'm excelling. As a comic, I'm unemployed. So it's tough to answer those questions from a New York perspective. It's it's weird right now. I keep thinking to myself, if this had happened at any other time in my career, I probably wouldn't have even met my daughter yet. but now that it's a pandemic and I can't leave, I'm home with her every day, and I haven't traveled a weekend in a year, which is insane, for comics that just make our money in the road. Especially for me, I'm even in the city, I'm like I make my bread and butter hosting.
I decided to get here's another perspective.
Piece of garbage. Look at speaking of
dudes.
Speaking of not traveling for comedy, the great Geno Bisconte is here, everybody.
Started without me.
I wanted to bring your other kid into this.
You're scatting and bebopping already, you motherfucker. Can you hear me? My microphone's fine, but sometimes I hear it's weird. Do I sound okay?
Everyone can hear you. People in Maine right now can hear you.
Sometimes too much.
Do I need earphones? Would you like me to put on earphones? Tell me what you guys would like from me.
I just also want to point out that if Geno was my other kid, he would change his clothes more. He wears the same. He wears his own merch, like like a band from the 80s.
Or a WWE wrestler.
Merch,
right. What'd you say, Gene?
I should probably wear some of your merch, Kev.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go visit. It's called hack.com. Sellmysoul.net. You fucking.
That's the merch I am wearing. Please. That is the merch I am bathing in.
No, I was doing this podcast with Kevin today. I was just like, you know what? The reason why I even know Kevin is through Geno. And I haven't seen Geno in a while. I was like, let's get these old fellas back together again.
Oh, I saw the text like literally half an hour before we started. I'm like, oh my God, because I was walking home because it's actually warm. And I thought I'd get, and I'm like, oh my God, is it too late? I'm in. Then I'm like walking briskly and sweating to death because I'm in such good shape. So yeah, it's good to be here.
It's always too late for you, Gene.
It's time has gone right by me.
Have you congratulated Kevin on being a father?
I have congratulated him. I bought him sticks. I bought his kid some clothes, which I think were made by Chinaman at the end. NBA endorsed. It's good stuff.
Let me tell you, Chad. So Gene gets us these clothes that look like if Canal Street had a website, it looked like he bought them from that website. Because we get them in the mail and it's very sweet. It's, it's like whatever, like stupid message the onesie has on it. But the pants look like they were made around the children that made them. It's like they made them on each other and then they shipped it out because the pants they stick up by themselves. They just stand. It's like they're like Forrest Gump braces.
I had to order them on Amazon because it was while the world was completely shut down. It was before it was wide open like this.
You know what? Let's take bets on how many times Geno can bring up COVID in one podcast.
No, I don't. It doesn't exist to me. People bring it up to me. I'm the one that's constantly reminded. Did you go to my Facebook page today or whenever this? I'm on the subway and I go to take a picture of myself and You would have thought it was a staged actor. There's a guy behind me. Oh my God, he's wearing the fucking, the fucking gas mask, it looks like he's got 3 dry cleaner bags on his head. It's terrifying. It's like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
So that would have made one entertainer on that subway car then.
He was killing. He was killing. Unlike Kobe.
I think you were without a mask, actually. That's great.
I was, dude. Shocking. It was shocking stuff. But people are like, did you stage that? I'm like, no, you can't make this shit up.
Well, one of the reasons, Kev, I want to talk to you is like, as comics, I understand how Geno survives. I get it. I'm a nomadic guy. Oh, there he is. Photo of himself.
I mean, guys, honest to God, between us buddies, honest to God, I just went to take a picture and I saw him and I really didn't even know he was behind me. And that face said it all. I'm like, hold on, anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go on, buddy.
This would be a great reveal. Chad, hold on. Now, Gene, go to my Twitter page and pull up the last tweet.
Hold on.
Now that you've done that.
I'm going to do it on my phone. Because
please
I can't
do it on your laptop
share.
and share your screen.
What's that?
I said, please do it on your laptop and share your screen.
First of all, you actually know how to do that. And I know you're big time in me here. Kevin. Hey, there he is. Kevin Brennan.
Almost.
Who was the guy you had on the last podcast? What am I looking for? When you have to follow Geno Bisconte on a comedy show? That one?
Look at
motherfucker. Who was the guy on the last episode, Chad, of Misery Loves Company? Mario Bosco.
Yeah, Mario Bosco.
I didn't know he was still alive. That kid, dude, I know him from Artie's show. He's out there, man. He's out there.
Crazy thing is, he said the same thing about you. I didn't know he's still alive.
I walked right into that. I walked right into that.
I like Mario.
Speaking of comics we can make fun of, and then we'll get back to doing it to me. I know you know him, Kevin. Do you know, Chad, he's probably not, because you don't do the, what's his name? Corey. What's his name? Corey.
Corey Comic?
Not Corey Comic. The annoying, who's the really annoying guy, Kev?
Feldman?
Corey Alexander.
Not familiar.
Oh, he's so annoying. And he reached out to me. He's like, hey, you're not going to text me on my birthday? I'm like, happy belated birthday. He's like, hey, you doing that Delaware room? He's always just like, he's just elbowing in, Fucking, he's like Tristan Thompson when he was still good. He gets his elbow in there and he tries to fucking work where is he now? Is he on the Nets? Where's Thompson?
He's in Boston, you
yeah, please. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
It's Philly. Funny. You seem to know all these open micers' names. I don't understand.
Walked right into that. Twice I walked into it. Boom.
I like that you brought Geno on just in case there's dead air between us. It's
there will be with me on.
Drive that subway car right through a conversation. I was touring with someone and Mario Bosco asked for a picture with the person, and the comic was like, "Oh, just a second, sweetie," and I had to go over and be like, "That's not an old woman. That's the man, and he's in his 50s." And the comic was like, "What?" And I was like, "Let's just get out of here."
Yeah, I guess he said on the podcast, Artie's one of the reasons why he got into stand-up. Like, he helped him get into it.
Wow. Artie was on a lot of drugs back then.
Well, you were the co-host.
Yeah.
So going back to my original question, one of the reasons I had...
You remember that?
Oh, of course.
It's my job.
I'm a broadcaster.
That's my favorite thing. That is my favorite thing of an hour into a podcast that Geno Bisconte's on when the host goes, so going back to what we originally opened with.
What I was trying to say.
No, doing what we do, I understand Geno. I understand what he's doing. And I know because it's such a nomadic life. I'm curious because I'm more interested because as I get older, I don't know about Geno, I'm looking to settle down myself. You're married, you have a child, you're a comic. How do you make it all work? Because I'm down here in Tampa, barely taking care of myself. So how do you make it work?
Barely getting on stage, barely getting puss. It is a tough lifestyle. No, you know what it is? I've I've pretty much been this part of my life, my whole life. So I've never really done anything else. I'm just the guy that I go into the club, I do my job, I shake hands, and then I leave. I'm never really hanging around much, and it's always because I'm either drinking with Geno or going home to my wife. So it's not much of an adjustment, to be honest. I think the daytime, instead of just sitting around on Twitter, I have to make sure a human doesn't die. That's probably the biggest adjustment. But again, I've had training. Geno rented a room for us for years, and that was an adjustment for all of us.
Oh, I was in that room for a couple months, so I understand that home, the home of hell.
That was when Bronson turned it into a rotating room of comics. That was a fun little ride at the end.
Yeah, that was like the kitchen of a restaurant. Everyone was a comic in that place. It was disgusting.
Bronson, our resident snowflake in charge. We love him.
So what happened to good old Harley, Geno?
Harley is on the West Coast now, and she's very anti.
Speaking of being on drugs,
she's another conspiracy theorist like myself. Like she literally reached out to me a couple days ago because she wanted one of these fucking hoodies. I'm like, sorry, the merch run is over. I could send you mine. It's a large. She's like, nah, but she wants to do them for her music videos. So she's still around, but she's not banging Zach anymore. Thank goodness. That fucking. Like weighs on you on your soul heavily.
How does that feel, Gene, to have such product placement as Harley Hopkins on Instagram? That's gonna be exciting for you.
Dude, we get great product placement with this. It was popped up in some article in Australia. Some chef Pete Evans got banned on his Instagram, and he had like 500,000 followers, and it's like it was because of this sticker, and they showed our sticker, but it wasn't because of that sticker. They just put that in the article like it was. It was just one of the many things. He was another one like lizards live under the earth and all that shit. But they're like, and this sticker.
All right, so but let's be real. Lizards actually live under the earth. Let's get into that.
I'm looking at it, dude. I just listened to the boss. Mike Lindell was on the boss's show. I was listening to that on the walk home. That guy. Look, I say this all the time. It's got to be a nightmare, whether you're Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy who's in on fucking the Secret Cabal, or the guy in the picture I just showed you with the gas mask. If you wake up every day, saying, oh my God, I hope I don't die of COVID. If you wake up every day saying, oh my God, I sure hope on March 7th, that's when they really inaugurate President Trump in. Or if you wake up every day saying, oh my God, Biden's going to save us. If you wake up every day thinking any or all of those things, you deserve to live in the terror that you live in, because it's so life is easier now more than ever. Like I'll tell you, last year was probably one of the best years of my life, comedically, financially, kitty cat wise. Say hi, Six. Hi, Six.
Does your neighbor ever hit your floor with a me?
Yeah.
No, because I go.
Shut the fuck up!
I'd stand outside the window with no mask. Well, you need me? Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk? I do the reverse.
How much do I owe you?
Shut up about COVID already.
I would do the Kramer reverse peephole.
So are you going full on conspiracy theory guy now? Are you going to join the Tim
Dillons?
No,
I'm being considered that just because I don't want to wear a mask, and I'm over the president. Like Kevin will tell you, I don't even care about the fucking government anymore. Like there was like a year where I was just thinking about it.
Let me explain how little you care about the government. Geno and I were on the phone, and he tried to quote the press secretary, and he's like, "Did you see that Jen Psaki?" And I was like, it's a silent P, right? And he was like, no. And I was like, when have you gone to a Japanese restaurant and ordered 2 shots of Psaki? It's never fucking happened.
But I don't care. I really don't. That shows
because
it's awful. It's a nightmare. Like, don't you look at your phone now? Like a year ago, I'm like, this is good. I don't believe any websites now. I think the liberal side lies and the conservative side is insane. So whenever anything comes across my phone, don't you go like this? I can't even. Let me see if the Sixers won.
That doesn't excuse it, because you saw hashtag Saki bomb trending, and you were like, oh, they call it a Psaki bomb all the time. And I'm like, that's because you're stupid. You're a fucking idiot.
I stink.
Here's the thing, though, Geno. I don't think you're entirely wrong. In fact, a lot of your views I kind of agree with. I'm like, in a weird way, I see where you're coming from. And when you get weird with lizard shit, like I'm out. But
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to look. My brother, I think, is a very smart person, but he sends me the Mike Lindell documentary of how they stole all the votes. And I'm like, I'm worried. Why do you care? It does. The government. I checked with Michael Malice because he's my go-to guy to make sure. I said, is it okay to say the government runs itself and we shouldn't? He's like, yeah, the government runs itself. We don't need either. Like, the only thing that bothers me about Biden now, and it makes me like me, it's like, I don't sit there screaming at the TV. That's not my president. I'm the opposite. I sit there rooting for him to get through the teleprompter he's reading. And am I wrong? And I'm asking you both. He doesn't care anymore, right? He's like, blah, blah, blah. Am I done yet? Is it her turn? He doesn't care.
Speaking of questions that we've been asking, are you done yet?
I'm done.
I love in the middle of that, you said, and I say something that makes me like me. How did you feel before you said that about yourself?
I liked me a lot before I said it. I'm not going to lie to you. I was hugging myself as I said. But it's like, because you spend 4 years making fun of the people going like, that's not my president. It is. And I said this on our show and Berg literally goes, that's the most racist thing you said. I'm like, it's a fact. Anyone that sits there and like, there's so many things that people, I just want to say, do you realize if you look at the global population, because I'm going to talk population of the flat earth, if you look at it, 80% of the population are in India or China. So you should wake up every day if you don't live there, thanking God that you're the 1 in 5 people that weren't fucking born into that country. And you should be thrilled to live here. Instead, you have people saying like, well, what's the new one? Oh, well, the attack on the Capitol on January 6th was worse than 9/11 because it was Americans. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And if you think that, young lady, why don't you go to a country where you're not allowed to keep your clitoris? Shut the fuck up.
What was that, Kevin?
I said that's not true because 9/11 was an inside job.
This was too. They went inside the Capitol.
I'm afraid that you're making Chad chug Kool-Aid out of a toll point.
It's actually Celsius jackfruit. I'm trying to get this energy.
I'm coming down to Florida and I'm ripping you off the wagon, Zumock. You and your fag. I'm sober now. No one cares.
That's why it takes you 3 hours to smoke a cigar. Your sentences are 5 minutes long.
I like myself, Kevin. I don't care what you say.
This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. This could have been a very pleasant interview, back and forth. But
I was invited.
Kevin, have you ever seen Geno cry?
Yes, multiple times.
Are you serious? I would love that on videotape. I would love that.
I wish you could have seen me when I got your text happen. I'm like, I couldn't text. I'm in. Did I miss my window? I'm like, what are you guys doing? I want to hang out with you too.
I would post a video, but it usually happens after he comes, so it's difficult to post that anywhere.
Chad, why does Kevin? I love that you just egg him on. Why does he think we're in a cult now over at Combat? It's a cult, Chad. Starts yelling. I can't. And you just poke him. You're like, don't. I think it's a cult. It's a cult, Chad.
Kevin, have I seen Gene cry? Yes, I have. I've seen Gene cry many times. Realistically,
the Sarah McLachlan song.
Well, I don't know what he was listening to, but the last time he was driving home,
you saw me vomit. So I was hanging out with Micah Fox the other day. We were telling that story about her on your podcast, dude. Oh, we were dying. Then I told her the story about how we went to a Wawa. I'm so drunk, and you're like, stay in the car, okay? And you came out, and I'm leaning over your car. Did you throw up? No. Do you think you should, Gene? Do you think you should?
All right. So let me give context because there is a different audience for this podcast.
Yeah. Don't assume everyone knows you, Geno.
Yeah, there's somebody. I thought you had all highbrow listeners, Chad.
I'm like, you know what my career is turning into is, you know how if Mike Boschetti was famous, Don Jameson would be on SNL. If anyone knew Geno, I would have made it 5 years ago.
The same 9 people listen to all 3 of our podcasts. But go on. Explain it like there's somebody new subscribing to any of this. Go on.
Shoehorn into the fact that you have a show with Aaron Berg again. So I was on.
What about Aaron Berg on Compound? There you go.
The fact that this is a sponsor means there's no new listeners. It's the same fucking people.
Dude, tell him, Kevin. We were sitting there because I'm a huge fucking Silk City hot sauce guy. And they're like, have you tried Chad's sauce? I'm like, Chad doesn't have a sauce. I'm like, yeah. He said, I'm like, oh, that's really good. I didn't know that was
Geno,
and I didn't know the other one was Bob Biggerstaff's. I only thought that Aaron Berg had one. I'm dumb.
Geno promoted Jeff and Geno have the same birthday, so they did a birthday code, and I saw it, and I texted him, no one is making money anymore. It's the same. We're talking to the same 15 people, and it's just which promo code they remember.
I don't think they sold any because I'm such a fan. I was like, use the code Just Joking, even though because it drives Berg nuts because he's got badass. I'm like use the code Just Joking, and I was doing it for 2 weeks before Christmas. Look, you could see all the fucking hot sauces I have over the stove right there. Like I got so many, you know. And then he's like, hey, he texts me the day after Christmas, like, hey, we have the same birthday, December 29th. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a special, buy 8 sauces, use promo code Geno29. And I said, any one of my fans is out of hot sauce. It doesn't need hot sauce for 6 months now. Because that's all I spent the holiday season doing. Like, get these hot sauces, use these codes. I don't think they sold one with the Geno29 code. Shocker.
Right. What Geno's trying to say is use Zumach for 15% off.
Chad, believe you me, I will do that before I do Berg's code. And I love Aaron Berg, my co-host. But I'm like, use CMP, use Just Joking. Next thing I'm gonna be like, I can't wait to do that tomorrow. Is it Zumach?
Zumach, yes, promo code Zumach, 15%.
I'm laughing at how angry he's gonna get reading. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's like I'm making up new people.
Oh, do you remember, Gene, speaking of that road gig that we went on, it was Geno and I, it was like an hour and a half into the Poconos, and we get there, it's
you're welcome. Firehouse. All right, go on. By the way, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Go on.
It's the only firehouse I ever played that Bob Levy didn't book me. So we're
see if you play it again, tough guy.
So we're at a fire. By the way, Bob and I were on the ski mask show. Right. Like the Brennan wrap-up show. And
how did you get that booking?
I think you know what? Do you remember Letterman? Do you remember Letterman's old booker? He's now on
Eddie Brill.
Eddie Brill is.
I can't stand it.
So we were on with Bob, and Bob was asking if I was having a boy or a girl. This is months ago, and I said girl, and he said, "So your swimmers aren't strong enough?" And I said, "No, I just wanted to give birth to your 6th wife," and that was literally how we started the podcast. So Geno and I are in this fire hall, and I remember like the sound went out or something. And the two of us were just going back and forth, but like from stage, it was a fun show.
Sure.
But Geno gets off stage, and he's like, all right, I'm not going to drink this time because we have a long drive, blah, blah, blah. So he gets off.
You know, all the times you say that, Chad. How's that work out?
Picture Geno in this box, and then 3 hands coming up from different directions with shots. And he just gets, I'm not going to drink. And he just takes all 3 of them. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So he starts getting wasted. So they bring out this dinosaur costume, one of those like inflatable ones. So I put the inflatable dinosaur costume on because Geno's blacked out now to scare him. And he turns around and I'm in his face and he fucking punched me right in the mouth because it scared him. So we just swung and he fucking hit me in the face in the dinosaur costume. So now I'm like, the thing's deflating. I take off the mask.
By the way, let me interrupt you. Like, and again, they don't know, like, not a dinosaur Barney costume. Like, you've seen them. They were all the rage. It's like a giant inflatable thing where your face is here, but the head is here. I punched the dinosaur face, not yours.
Well, you hit me because you must have thought I was Mitch McConnell with your fucking lizard theories.
I'm a tough guy. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
So I'm like, all right, we got to go. It's, it's time to go. So I'm bringing him outside. It was like when you watch like a baby deer try to walk for the first time. That's how his leg, it's like he didn't know how to put one foot in front of the other. So I put him in the passenger seat. We're driving out. I now have no cell reception. It's a 1-lane road in the fucking mountains with no lights. Every 5 minutes, Geno springs up, forgets where he is, and screams at the top of his lungs. Scares the shit out of me. Every fucking time. I think I grabbed him by the collar. I was like, do it one more time. I promise you, just do it one more fucking time.
I'm gonna have to take his word for it, Your Honor. I'm gonna have to take his word for it.
So we pull into a Wawa and I was like, I need some food. He needs something. And I look over at him and he looks over and his eyes are just rolling in his head. And I go, stay here. And so I go into the Wawa. I come out of the Wawa and Geno's out of the car, just wandering around the parking lot. And I look at him and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, where am I? And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, did you throw up? And he was like, no. And I was like, do you think you should? And he was like, probably.
Thank God I did.
Make himself throw up, put him back in the car. An hour and a half, he blacks out. We get to the city, and him, me, and my wife are all supposed to go out for drinks. I pull up to the bar that she's
You're
at.
supposed to go out for drinks.
We were
still?
supposed to. Originally.
I was full, Chad.
Right. So we pull up to the bar, and I text her. I say, you got to come outside and help me. I've never seen him this drunk, and I've known him for decades now. So she comes outside.
Apologize for that as well. Go on.
She comes outside. I rolled down Geno's side of the window, and my wife goes, Gene, you okay? I swear to God, he looks over. He goes, when did you get here? And I was like, we are in the city. We're in the city. So my wife reaches into his pocket, takes whatever the take for the show was that day, throws me, my wife pays me out of Geno's pocket,
Great.
and then puts him into a cab.
Molly.
Literally puts him into a cab, hands the cab driver the wad, and goes, take whatever you need to for how much it costs to get him to 250, and then like names our address. And she was like, he's going to pass out by the time that you get there. Just scream in his face and he'll wake up.
That's
Everything
pretty
will be
much
fine.
the only. I remember the last shot I did on stage, and that was the next scene. Get out of my cab! Why are you giving me all this money, sir? Get out of my cab! It was
the only person.
Oh, we have fun. We have fun, guys.
The only person in the history of automobiles to get paid to take a cab on a ride home.
It's like, it's a lot of money for riding in your cab, sir. Get out of my cab! He's like, how did this guy not vomit all over my cab?
I can't pile on Geno because honestly, I was part of one of the drunkest nights ever, and you guys were a part of it. And I think, honestly, Kevin was the orchestrator because it was a couple years back. You remember we went and did karaoke with Carlos Mencia?
Yeah, I was at Gotham with him.
Yes, and we came and met up with you, and we got to this bar, and I remember I was already hammered because Geno and I went to the bar next door, and I remember
Jake's.
Carlos going, "Hey, I got an
Jakes,
open
I
tab."
love Jakes.
Yeah, and I remember Carlos going, "I have an open tab, so whatever you want." I'm like, "Really?"
Why would you say that to me and or Chad, let alone when we're standing next to you? It's stupid. That's stupid. But go on. Sorry, Chad.
I'm doing shots. I'm being such a scumbag. My apologies, Carlos Mencia, but I was offering girls drinks. Like, hey, what do you want? You know, I'm just next thing you know, I'm at Quarantine's house in New Jersey.
Hold on. Is that why you said that his credit card was missing at the end of the night? Is that what happened?
Now who's walking into the bits, Chad?
That's, you know what? That's a good burn. That's a good burn. You got to give burn where a burn is. That's a good burn. But long story short, I just woke up at Florentine's. I woke up the next day. I go,
How did you get there?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly the point where I can't shit on Geno because I was in the same situation. I'm pretty sure your wife put me in a cab and sent me to New Jersey with a wad of cash or maybe a credit card.
Molly, why are you giving him all this money? Yeah, it's what I do. It's what I do.
So fucking funny if she reached in, just took a wad of credit cards and put it in your pocket, looked at the cab driver and said, just scream when he gets back to his house and everything will be fine.
The cabbie looked at the card. He's like, is your name Ned?
I didn't know you were German. Fucking funny.
Good times, but guess what? Now you can't have those, Kevin, because you are a married father.
Well, that's not true. That's not. Depending on when this comes out, I'll be. What am I? I'm headlining a cigar lounge on Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah. What is it? Connecticut Cigar Lounge or something like that. It's whatever Berg and Goff just did. Part of.
Dude, are you doing the one where they give out the cigars and shit, Kevin? Sorry to interrupt.
I think so. Yeah.
That's a fun. I'll tell you. Guys like fucking Emilio and I was at Stand Up New York this past week because, you know, Cuomo, who has to go to jail. Cuomo's like, well, you're allowed to get married. You're allowed to have weddings on Valentine's Day. So you saw at Stand Up New York, did they literally staged a couple weddings and then it was an open bar and they put comics up. So I fucking drove up and I got on stage for like 10 minutes and you're on a stage talking to people. Most aren't wearing masks. You felt like the world was almost normal. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that picture that you posted was Berg's wedding picture. That's really classy.
He said maybe. Oh, dude, I got so fucked up. Like, John,
because he's Canadian and you're trying to get health insurance.
dude, and ask, who's there? And that's the other thing. The world's like, oh, everyone's fighting with everyone. Everyone hates you. Dante Nero's at the bar. I walk up to him, give him a big hug, right? And they hand me, and it's not a bar because it's a wedding, so they can't charge your booze. They're just handing whiskey. It's like Deadwood across the bar. They hand me a whiskey called Monkey Shoulder. I look at Dante. I'm like, I yelled this 3 times during the NBA All-Star game. And we just laugh. We laugh because the world is normal when we live together in real life. And so we run out of booze, and about like 7 o'clock, I'll never forget or should I say, it's one of the last things I remember. John, the booker, goes, "Hey, we're out of whiskey. Can you run around the corner and get some Jameson?" And it was like a puff of dust that was in the shape of me, like out of a Wile E. Coyote. And when it cleared, I was standing there, and Kevin, you'll love this. I got a bottle of Jameson, and since it was a wedding, what else did I get, Kev?
Wine, red wine,
No,
champagne.
remember your wedding, Seagram 7.
Oh my God.
May I, Kevin?
What a specific reference.
When Kevin gets married, it's like, Gene, you're in charge of the liquor. I'm like, good call. So we get all this booze. Me and Kevin are just at the liquor store throwing booze in the thing. And I'm like, we get all this booze, like 8 bottles of JMO vodka, whatever. And I'm like, and this, he's like, what's this? I'm like, it's like every wedding you have to do shots of Seagram 7. So we had a bottle of Seagrams. People go to the bar and we get so drunk by the end. I don't know if you were as hammered as me, but me and Bronston go up like, hey, give us a Seagram 7. Like, you finished that bottle an hour ago. We're like, oh, did we? We don't know.
3 things. Number 1, I like how you say I'll never forget, but a better way of putting that is the last thing I remember. That's a great
That's
way.
usually more accurate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually, that should be the new 9/11 slogan. The last thing I'll remember.
Never forget. Can you remember?
Number 2, you were in charge of booze for the wedding, and I would like to point out, for as much first off, you weren't in charge. Your wedding gift, you offered to buy the booze because we did everything ourselves.
Yeah.
Very,
I was just
very
trying to put a cute spin on. Yeah, I had no. I'll buy the booze. I got the booze.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like, you don't have to. I'm like, I am begging you to let me buy the booze.
If you were in charge of booze for the wedding, then you were also in charge of whose job it was to buy booze. That's the only reason you were in charge. We ran out of booze at my wedding twice. We ran out. We ran out, and my best friend took out his card and was like, "What do you guys need?" And then he, the wedding coordinator went and got it, and then we ran out again, and no one would put their card up, so we get some like extra bill from the coordinator like 3 weeks later. We were like, I thought someone else paid for that, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we ran out again." After that, we had bartenders from Levity do the wedding. It was over in Brooklyn, and Kristen Booma, and she came in. The last thing I'll remember is I was writing my vows, and I'm writing my vows in the kitchen of this like loft space in Brooklyn, and she walks through in just like a sweat. And when like a comedy club bartender is sweating, there's some fucking shit going on. So she walks in, and I go, "Are you okay?" The ceremony hadn't even started. She goes, "Yeah, I'm fine. A lot of drinkers. Didn't expect this much. We're going to be okay." And just walks back out of the kitchen, just like grabbing handfuls of like whatever the fuck she can get.
So fun.
So we did run out of that twice. But yes, no, Geno and I we did have a bottle of Seagrams. I do like how you say when Kevin gets married, like it's an occurrence that might happen every couple of years.
I like when Kevin gets married.
I'm knocking wood.
Yeah,
by the way, let me circle back.
We get a bottle of Seagrams.
Let me circle back, Chad. So do you think you will get married? Is that like, I was having that conversation with Kevin, like, that's probably I could never, and we always joke, it's a running gag on the show, my ex, but I could have never married my ex because I wasn't in that space. Like, I look at my life now, it's like, this is what I was trying to do the whole time, and I'm here, but it's like, I'd like to try and get married now, but I'm fucking 52. You're getting up there, kiddo. What do you think?
Well, I'm 46. I still have time, not like you.
That's 3. You get 3, Zuma. You get what, Kevin? What?
I love in that situation how you go, I was never in the place. Like, it was your choice.
Geno's getting frustrated.
What ex are you talking about? The one you flew to, the one that Florentine always tells a story?
You fucking just beat me. You fucking just beat me. I was going to say next time you wake up from a blackout at Florentine.
Chad, would you like to know what really happened other than the 19 versions? 20 if he's telling the story now that Florentine is told. Would you like to know what really happened?
Let's tell the real story because Jim's he's told it on my podcast at least twice.
He's told it to me, and I can't stop laughing when he's like, so he goes, so he flies, so he flies to Mexico City. Why would I fly to Mexico City? So this was so many lifetimes ago. Long story short, before, like, I used to be a banker in Delaware. Okay, a banker, and I don't mean like Wall Street banking. I mean like something out of fucking Office Space. I sat behind a desk, whatever, and I was a bartender, and I was engaged to this chick that I'd known since I got out of college, and I broke up with her because I started having panic attacks when we got engaged. So whatever. But then, being the cunt I was at 27, that's 25 years ago, I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. I gotta. So she's like, no, I'm moving. She literally said at the end of the summer, this was 4 months. She's like, I'm moving. She tells me this in June, whatever. She's like, in September, I'm going to Portugal, Galicia, Spain, which is where her family lives. And she's like, I'm going to live with them for the winter and find myself, whatever. So to impress her, I know she's flying through Madrid. So I buy a plane ticket to Madrid and meet her in the airport in Madrid. Now, let me say this. I knew she wasn't going to take me back. And as proof, I backpacked all through Europe. I went from fucking Madrid to Barcelona, all through Italy, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, what if she said yes? And I'm like, in my defense, I know she wasn't going to say yeah. But at any rate, I get to the airport.
This was your Hail Mary. This was your Hail Mary.
Yeah. But I don't even know what I'm trying to, but I'm like, I know she's not going to say it. I know she's not going to be like, oh my God, I love you. Let's get married. And I didn't show up with a ring. I showed up with flowers. I said, look, because by the way, sidebar, I'd lost my parents the year before all that. So I was a fucking coke-addled drunken mess as opposed to ta-da now.
And wait, and you didn't find them in that time?
No, I'd lost them, and they didn't give me a new address. So I'm like trying to prove I have my shit together, which is why I flew out there. And I give her flowers and I surprise her. And I'm, you think she's gonna say something romantic, and this is the one part Jim never misses. She says, "What are you doing here? You have problems." That's what she said to me. That's what she said to me. Between Geno was so fucked up, and what are you doing here? You have problems. Nothing else is ever the same when Jim tells the story, and I love that. But that's what happened. And then I backpacked through Europe.
Did you have the John Cusack boombox above your head?
No.
I like to think that when you got there, she said, "What is my banker doing here?"
She rolled her eyes. She was like, what would you? It was literally, this guy doesn't get it. How pathetic. All those I will stand by. Pathetic, desperate. She's like, what are you doing here? You have problems. And then she went to Galicia, Spain, and I went all over Italy and all that stuff. And then I believe at some point in the story, I fucked another friend of mine's ex-fiance. But this is what you do when you're finding yourself.
What was he an ex because he also flew
Here we go.
Yeah, I like this is turning into like the Aristocrats, because I've heard this story through Florentine. I heard this story through Shuli. I think I heard part of this story through Rich, and then he said, "Who's Geno?" right after that. So it's been.
Do you understand, like, the reason?
At this point, I heard it through Ron DeSantos.
The reason Florentine does it all the time, and he'll tell you this if he even remembers, he was the first person I saw. I flew back after a month, in Europe, and I had a show I'll never forget with him and Jeff Parami. And he's like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "I just backpacked through Europe." He's like, "Did you get laid?" And I'm like, "It wasn't about that." He's like, "You're gay. You're gay." He's like, "I know a guy that backpacked through Europe. He jerked off in every country, and he sent postcards." I'm like, all right.
It's hard to have sex when you can't stop crying.
Can't wait to see the look on Rita's face when she comes crawling back. Huh?
Oh, yeah. I hope that your door kicks open in 2 minutes and it's her. And you say, "What are you doing here?"
But go back to when you just said how you are having a good night at Stand Up New York, and you guys are in New York. Like you said, it felt normal again being on stage. Like I've been in Florida, and like I don't understand how you guys. And I feel bad that you can't get on. Like I'm spoiled. We're at full capacity here, and I'm like, what is the rest of the country doing right now? So I don't understand like what's going on up there. I don't get it,
dude. I will say this politically, and I don't mean this isn't a political statement. This is, I'm curious what you two think. It's like, I think it's going to be fine because, like, as crazy as the right looked the past 4 years, the left is starting to look that bizarre and insane. And I thought the moment DeSantis yelled at the people, I wish Trump yelled at people more. He was too busy yelling like an insane person. But when your boy DeSantis goes, you worry about that. I don't worry about that. I can't wear a mask. I want to drink a beer and watch the game. And Florida's numbers are better than most of the country. And now what's going on with Cuomo? They got to try and bury that shit. I think the next 2 to 4 years are going to be the inverse, and it's all going to balance out again. It's going to take care of itself, but I think more people need to be talking like your boy DeSantis. It's like, what?
I just want to point out that out of all the years I've known you, it's gonna work itself out has been your answer for everything. There's not even like a strategy involved. You go, it'll work itself out.
Take care of it, but it does.
You know, it's herpes. It'll work itself out, buddy.
It'll take care of itself, Kev. You worry too much, kiddo. You worry too much.
Look, I think that when the city's allowed to do, legalized stand-up again, like legit, when the clubs are all back, when everything's
legalized
open,
stand-up. It's like
legalized comedy.
I mean, look, I'm at the New York Comedy Plant House on 23rd Street on Friday for 2 shows. It's like the shit that we're doing, and it's outdoors at a penthouse. The other day I did a set and I walked away. I walked away going, why am I wet right now? And I realized I was leaning in the snow while working on new material. That's not a good environment. So anyway, I think, but here's my point is those shows prove it right there. The fact that I did 2 shows the other night at New York Comedy Club on a 5th floor penthouse. It was, I think, the real feel 10 degrees outside, and there were 8 people huddled under heat lamps like it was a fucking Packers game. Everyone's got like shared blankets and stuff. It was absolutely insane. But if people will come out to that, people will come out to regular clubs. We just need to be given the chance to live under like whatever protocols. Like if it's less capacity, fine. If we have barriers between us, fucking fine. Just like let us figure it out. Because right now we're under the same classification as strippers in New York City. So you cannot go to a comedy club because you cannot go to a strip club. And it's the exact same, which is so fucking dumb. Also why I don't talk to my dad, but next question.
That's why. That's cute. That's why you get called a conspiracy theorist, because I stretch it to the point like, you can't control people that aren't afraid, and people that are laughing aren't afraid. And that's why it galls me. Like Kevin will tell you, Chad, I was losing my mind. I didn't realize till later when we were at the fucking, what was it? 4th Street, New York Comedy Club. We're at 4th Street when they're doing the rally for fucking comedy, and I'm livid. And then I realized later, because it's like I'm looking at, it's like our clubhouse, and it's like, yeah, you guys can't play in your clubhouse, and all we do in our clubhouse is make people laugh. We fucking, I'm gonna exaggerate. We spread joy, we spread laughter, we fucking give people the greatest gift you can, if I would argue. And they're like, yeah, you're not allowed in. Why? Because we said so. Because we are prioritizing so many things above this, and that's where you're like, well, you're just bullies. And I get fucking livid and angry, and I was so mad. Like I almost wish I hadn't gone, because I was trying to show support, and I just wanted to fucking choke someone, because that's what it is. And then when you see Cuomo yesterday, when it comes out that he basically murdered people, and it's like Hillary Clinton, when she's like, Benghazi, drop it. It's almost like he knows he's not going to get in trouble. He's like, well, here's where I screwed up. And remember, he's not talking about misappropriated funds. He's not talking about, like a Amazon left New York. He's talking about fucking lying about old people dying, and he goes like this, here's where I screwed up. Not like, oh my God, here's where I screwed up. Like I didn't give the information correctly, and where the void of information was, that's where there's disinformation. Every stupid word. That guy needs to go to hell right after Pelosi. He does, because he doesn't care. And the reason he doesn't care is because it's that old movie. I can't remember. It's an old Clancy movie. He's like, here's my get out of jail free card. It's like he has one, because he should feel terrible for what he did. He doesn't. Well,
he's making a steady $200,000 a year, and he has, and I don't like how we have these state politicians telling us what we should do. And I'm concerned about New York. I really am. I care about you guys. I want my New York. I want to go to New York and visit you guys, but I have no reason to go there ever again anytime soon.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And I feel for, like Kev's a comic, you're a comic, and it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't like how things are going. And I don't know. I feel for you guys. I really do.
Kevin, not Aaron Berg always busts my balls, my co-host on topic, because it's a running gag. And I used to always say it to my
What's his
brother,
last name? Berg?
my brother
You do a
hates the
show
cold
together,
weather.
right?
So since I was a kid, he'd always be like, I'm moving to Florida. I'm like, I hate Florida. It's so humid. And I used to say this all the time. Like, if you were to ask me to make a list of 49 states I want to live in, Florida would not be on it. And I am gladly eating every single letter of those sentences, because if it's South Carolina or Florida are like the two places I'd want to go right now, because they're like, stop it. It's fine. Live your life. Like, the fact that we're not prioritizing, look, COVID is real. No one, they're like, oh, you don't think it's real? It's real. But it's not that bad where you shut down a fucking country. You fucking protect the old people, and you try not to kill Hank Aaron, but you do. And you stop. And when you can't get rid of vaccines because old people don't want to take it, and you have to say, oh, we changed priorities now, and we're giving it to the fat, to the obese and the smokers. Yeah, because they're willing to take it, unlike the old people who you're killing. You know, it's like, just prioritize and protect the old. But they didn't do that. Cuomo didn't do it, and he's sitting there going like, here's what I did wrong. I used weird words. Faggot.
Now, are you recording this so he can use this as his submission to QAnon?
I don't care.
Yeah, I want to get
I
you
don't
in
care
with
about
Chris-
either of you guys. You're jerks.
I want to get you in with Chrissy Mayer so you guys can
You invited me here, people.
social network.
You look like you're clipping tomatoes in your old neighborhood, just yelling at the air.
I swear to God, I had tomato plants outside. 5 tomato plants because, you know, a fan one time, I'll never forget, during an Instagram live, like, you should grow tomatoes. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. So I send away for tomatoes. I plant 5 flower pots of them. 5 flower pots. I think I had 3 tomatoes, and they were plum tomatoes. They looked like grape tomatoes. I got 3 all year. I'm not good at what I do. Not good at farming.
You've always said that. Not a good farmer. Now, Kevin,
My dad was a farmer. That guy, he was a farmer. He was a farmer, Chad. Farmer.
Farmer Bisconte.
No one cares.
Hey, now, Kevin, would you move out of New York?
You are moving out of New York, just to Jersey.
Fuck off. I'm moving to the other side of the Hudson.
I know you're moving to a different borough of New York, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, pretty much. It's tough. Well, it's tough for me because I sound like this when I talk, so it's hard for me to get lost anywhere else. You know, my wife is from Northern California, and every time I go there, it's like my cousin Vinny. It's just like I don't assimilate well into other cultures at all.
You blend.
I'm very aggressive everywhere else. Dude, I wouldn't. It was like I get depressed that I'm moving to a new apartment. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in Jersey, like the shadow of the skyline. I wanted to live here my whole life. I moved here. I got married, got a kid, turned, professional comedian. It's like my whole life is here. So it is fucking depressing seeing New York like that. But it's also like, saving money would be nice. Not paying, for Geno Bisconte to rent out all sorts of different rooms in an apartment would also be nice. I would like to. I have daydreams all the time about just fucking quitting and moving to like Scotland and learning how to live. Yeah, just like somewhere fucking.
Kev, you're that age. After I backpacked through Europe, I'm not kidding. For years, I had a book. So you want to work and live in Italy? Sure, I do. I don't even know what happened to that book, but yeah, you have these dreams, but you can't because, and this is what we've always talked about, Kevin. Comedy. Like these people, that's why I get so galled. People are like, oh, I'm doing comedy. No, you're not. Comedy chooses you. Like you're just saying it, Kev. It's like you have all these dreams, but comedy fucking chooses you, Chad. You don't decide, I'm going to try. It just fucking seizes your soul. And this is what you have to do. And people don't get that.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait until my wife divorces me. And then I'm going to fly to whatever airport she's traveling in.
Here we go.
And then
Mexico City. Say Mexico City.
And wherever she says, what are you doing? That's where I'm going to settle down once I quit.
I believe one time Florentine goes, France. I'm like, where? France. It doesn't matter. It's in France. And Florentine. So Geno flies to France. Where? Doesn't matter. And he's in France.
Dude, I had the best of the best because I had Shuli telling this story as Jim Florentine doing the Florentine accent, doing your story wrong.
Nice. Geno.
Yeah, there you go.
What's wrong with you? You're gay. That's so gay.
Yeah, I don't think I could live anywhere else. It's I love New York comedy too much. It's but that's a burden that any comic feels. Dude, if you don't think about quitting every 6 months, you know what I mean? Like, are you really doing it? Are you really racking your brain, or are you just coasting on something that might have worked once and you're milking it? Like, if you're not thinking, man, what's the next bit? Like, when I got texted, Emilio texted me this morning, was like, hey, do you want to do the cigar lounge on Thursday? It's the first time I'm going to headline in like a year, do an extended set. And already, like, I'm stressed out about it. And like, look, a year and a half ago, I would have been like, great, I know my set. This is awesome. I'll work on some new shit. I'll do this. I'm already putting it together in my head, being like, oh, fuck, I'm not going to remember this goes here. And then, but that'll give me a new tagline. Like, it was 2 hours ago and I'm already fucking wrapping my brain about it. But that's what comedy is.
And I think I've said this to you, Kev. It's like, it's another thing. Like, there's so many good things about this COVID thing that happened, because it's like, I think comics, both sides of the microphone, for lack of a better word, we were taking it for granted. Like, think about it. We'd show up at a gig. Sure. Like, Kevin, you just said it's like, me too. We used to do 45 minutes. It was just a matter of driving there and doing it. Now it's like, can I even remember that much? Right, Chad? You drive to a gig, Chad, be like, they're going to be here waiting for me. And the crowds, I think, especially in New York, were like, all right, we paid our $2 make me dance, monkey. You know what I mean? But this summer, when we're doing, I don't know, you're doing shows in the park and Zoom shows, and I'm looking at 8 people on 3 blankets, I'll never forget, in Battery Park, and I'm looking at them like, thank God you're here, and they're looking at me like, thank God you're doing this. It really helped reinvigorate. Like, this is why we do this. We can't not do this, and it was kind of a good thing.
Did you, Chad? Did you ever hear the first time back after the lockdown? Geno and I did a show together, and neither one of us had performed yet. And this is like 2 months after the lockdown. The fucking golf course it was like,
oh my God! And we're looking at it. Go on. I'm sorry. Oh, this is fucking. It was
literally.
And it was literally. Let me interrupt one sec, because you're saying that's it. We're like, now we're just gonna go do our stand up, right? Now we just show up and we do our jokes, and they're there, right? Go on. I'm sorry.
In my mind, I was like, I'm not gonna do anything new. This one's for me. This is for me to have fun and just get my sea legs back. Dude, when I tell you, I forgot every punchline to every joke. I literally went, Chad, I went, oh man, it's weird being a young, bald, white guy. Where are you guys from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, I've been married for 2 years. So what do you do? What do you do for a job?
There's a couple times Chad, Kevin looks at me like I have his punch on. It's like, I don't got him. And there's
so Gene goes up, and Gene starts piecing premises that don't go to punchlines.
Like, where do I put faggot at? I don't know.
right, Chad, I didn't know. I think I called a whore a faggot. I was so confused.
Yeah, you don't call a whore, right?
Right, faggot. And at one point, I look at Kevin. I'm like, oh, I get it now. There's nothing there. It's like you go to the closet, and there aren't just cobwebs. There's spiders going. There were no cobwebs in here. At one point, I do a joke, and I go, "That's from the last millennium." Remember, I'm like, I wrote that when I started in the 90s. I'm like, that's from a different millennium, Kevin. I got nothing. You don't know
Geno starts doing wrong premises with wrong punchlines, and he relies on a transition. Geno's very first album is called "This Is Not What I Do for Fun."
Yeah.
And Geno used to do all of these opposite of, if I wanted to have fun, I'll run into like a woman's shelter with a frying pan or whatever the fuck it was.
With a skillet and where's my dinner, bitch?
Yeah. If I wanted, this isn't what I do for fun, people. If I wanted to have fun, I'll run into an AA meeting with the scotch and say, "Here's to you, you fucking quitters."
Is that the one I
did? So,
and I go like this. I go, Kevin, 1997.
right. So I'm watching Geno eat it because I fucking ate it, and I'm watching him, and I'm the only one laughing, and it's because he's doing so bad. And in the middle of bombing, he goes, "Listen, people, this isn't what I do for fun." And I went out loud, "No way." And Geno looked over at me and he goes, "Yeah, that's how bad it is right now."
You're checking all your pockets, nothing. You're going in couch cushions for punchlines. You're like, oh, this one worked in the late 90s. Let's hammer them. Nothing. Dude, and you're also like, I'm never going to remember my app. Dude, it's at the point now where, look, I use these. I can't recommend these enough. Erasable markers, I just write them on my wall. I'm like, all right, there you go. I remember that one. just
if
fucking...
you ever live with Geno, it's like taking
I
a
did.
tour of the set. Okay, so you know what it is. It's like the director's cut of the number 23. He's just got fucking words all over his walls, and you're like, are you going insane?
I love it, dude. I do. I love it. Kevin, bad fire. That's a bad fire. That's on here. When I wrote that, I couldn't wait to tell Kevin. Peanut butter dog. Oh, dude, that one I wrote during the pandemic. You ready? I really started eating a lot better during the pandemic. I'm not afraid of fats. I eat olive oil. I eat olive oil. I eat avocado. I eat peanut butter. Well, my dog eats the peanut butter.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Geno, what's the type of kelp? Geno, what's the type of...
You got to go to our podcast for that. You got to go to my podcast I do with you.
Well, let's wrap it up, guys. What's your plugs, Kevin? What do you got coming up? Where can people find you? You got the cigar bar, Twitter,
yes.
Anything else? Let's get it out there.
Thursday, depending on when this comes out, but Thursday, let's call it Thursday the 18th, I'll be doing 2 shows at the Connecticut Cigar Company over in Stamford, Connecticut, 7 and 9 o'clock shows. I don't know how to get tickets because I just got texted that I'm doing this. So just Google Connecticut Cigar Company, and I'm sure that'll pop up. And then this Friday, I'll be at New York Comedy Club on 23rd, doing 2 shows as well. I think the 7:15 and an 8:45. And then you can follow me online at Kevin Dombrowski Comedy on Instagram, at Kevin Dombrowski on Twitter, and listen to my podcast called Just Joking. It's really, we're just a bunch of comics sitting around making fun of everything happening in the world, and it's a good time.
Yeah, and for all the MLC fans, he has Adam produce it, so Adam's on your podcast too, right?
Yes, Adam has a lot of contempt for me in the podcast. So if you do like hearing an angsty Adam, it's a good listen. Adam and I, what I love about working with Adam is our minds work completely differently, so we never go for the same joke. But watching him be annoyed at me during the live reads is one of my highlights of the week, is because I just ramble for minutes just to make myself laugh, and watching his eyes roll is honestly, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
The fact that he's annoyed by you and does podcasts with Brian McCarthy and Kevin Brennan drives. What's wrong with him?
McCarthy's too?
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes. It's like a weird.
It is. It's like we all have joint custody of him. I'm really into it.
I think he's great. I will say this, Kevin. I think, as a fan of Just Joking, and it's weird because it's hard to keep up with podcasts. The 3 in my rotation now, and I'm not just saying it, it's Just Joking, it's MLC, and I try and support. It's called the Thirst Trap. It's our girls Natalie and Amanda. I'm big fans of those 2 to begin with because they've done our podcast, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do a podcast together. So but I think, Kevin, you should, like, when I was on the 1-year anniversary, you did all the clips with me. You need to do a clip of all the things you call Adam every week when you open. Mr. Tight Shirt. Like, I'm realizing I'm looking forward to that every fucking week.
I love how he knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And he braces up. It's whatever. It's really just a visual of Adam, whatever he's wearing, Hineker, or whatever mood he's in that week. We really are. We're as much. We're like a divorced couple, and, and we do a podcast every week.
That's awesome. Of course, Geno, Compound Media, Monday through Thursday. Then he has Gum Fridays on Fridays. Come on, Geno.
You do that with Aaron Berg, right?
Aaron Berg, dude, it's a shit ton of gigs coming in. Comedians of the Compound. We're at Soul Joel's Heated Tent. Have you done that yet, Kevin?
I have not.
Oh, you got to fucking fly up. We'll get some drinks, right? Chad. We'll do that.
I love how that's like the go-to gig now. I love how everyone's like, have you done Soul Joel's?
Well, and the thing is, like some trolls of that Red Bar Fag are like, oh, bring your own booze and fucking they have to sit outside. I'm like, yeah, they offered us indoors, but we're like, let's make them sit outside and shut the fuck up. But we're there. I'm doing Scotty's Steakhouse.
Hold on.
Kevin.
You're the only person I know to address a feud in the middle of your own plugs.
Oh, because fans are Kevin, eat your heart out. I'm doing Scotty's Steakhouse, which I'll never do again, and I'll do again and again.
Is that are you doing a dirty contest? Is that what that is? The dirtiest comedian contest?
Just go to GenoBisconte.com. I'm all over the place. But Chad said it best. Like, just watch In Hot Water. It's one of the last free speech kind of shows going, and a lot of gay porn and stuff.
Now, when I did Kumia's show on Thursday,
I listened.
You guys got to come down to Tampa, man. I get recognized from Compound Media at the comedy club all the time. So I know there's people who are fans of your guy. You guys got to get down here. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Berg does all that shit. Thank God. And he's working on that. We're working on that. The ones we haven't announced, we're going to Austin in May, which is going to be fun. And we're doing the Wall Street Theater in April, but we're working on Boston and I think Tampa, definitely Florida, but I think Tampa.
Wait, you mean you don't have your schedule worked out on the wall of where you're emailing all these? But you mean Aaron Berg, someone that's actually organized, is doing that for you?
That's actually on my calendar on the wall. My dates.
I can't wait for this Austin gig for all you guys on Compound. Like, hey, Anthony, can you bring me on Rogan too?
I think Berg's going to try and get on. I'm not going near that.
Guys, I love you too. I think you guys are great. Please support these guys.
You too, pal.
And I do appreciate you guys. Leave a 5-star review if you feel charitable, and let's hang out in real life, guys, sometime.
Absolutely.
We'll come down there. It's smarter. We're drinking though. We're drinking, Chad.
Yeah, no. Actually, Geno's going to do 3 shots, and then he'll wake up there in my car. So we'll see you soon.
I don't care. Man, that's 4. You get 4. Now I'm done.
Then I'll go into his wallet, take his credit card, and tell the cab driver to drive him back to New York.
My card's not going to work, Chad. You can take it all you want.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. We'll see you soon. Thank you.